today we have another one of our favorite directors, another David Fincher film, all the way back to 1997. His great run of these thrillers. This is sandwiched in between Fight Club and Seven. It is The Game, starring Michael Douglas. So, Alec, take it away.
So, before just recently watching this, I had only seen this movie once. And rewatching it again, it made me realize kind of why I skip over it. And not that I think it's bad, not that I think it's terrible. It's just definitely, like you said, it's in between, Fight Club, it's in between Seven, it's in between kind of a lot of these stuff that gets so much more, getting more talked about. They're bolder films in some ways. But I had a really good time watching this. Now, I watched this in a fantastic way. Didn't own this. I couldn't find it anywhere in streaming, so I went out and bought it. And turns out Criterion had this. So I bought the Criterion Collection Blu-ray, and I put it on my Blu-ray player at home with the 77-inch, and it was gorgeous. Oh my goodness.
It's a deceptively good-looking movie.
It is. Like, there was
it really is.
And it's so dark most of the time, too, but yet, I mean, Fincher in his normal style just makes it look great. And the audio was fantastic, too. I mean, obviously, again, we talk about this a lot, but physical media, you get that uncompressed video, you get that uncompressed audio going to your TV and your speakers. There is a difference. There is something that you can both see and hear while watching it. And the Criterion Blu-ray is absolutely beautiful and just done so well. Like, it's great. Anyways, with that, so it was kind of fun to watch because while I knew the gist of the movie, I mean, it had been 20 years or so since I've seen this movie. So it was almost like rewatching it again because while I knew kind of the beginnings of it, I knew some of the ends of it. I didn't remember how he got from place to place or who really was involved or how that. So it was a lot of fun. So it's definitely, in my opinion, there's not the really big reveal in a lot of ways. I mean, I guess there is at the end, you can kind of say it, but it doesn't feel the same as, like, say, Fight Club or Usual Suspects or something of that kind of nature. But it's kind of fun to see the breakdown of Michael Douglas throughout this film of how quickly he goes from being this hoity-toity, finance guy to slowly breaking the law, or doing crazy things to survive or to figure out what's going on. And it's just kind of like, it's one of those things of that descent into madness as you see kind of your world crumbling around you. And it's not fun is not the right word, I would say, but it's definitely one of those scenarios that it's enjoyable to watch. Like, Fincher does a great job of kind of giving Michael Douglas time to kind of go through the emotions and kind of reach that point of madness.
Yeah, I found the film's pacing in the first 30, 40 minutes to be a lot slower than I'd remembered. Mm-hmm. But I hadn't seen it since I was probably 17 or 18. Mm-hmm. This was a film that my dad had picked up on DVD. And I'm wondering if it's something he had maybe seen in the theater and then remembered and was like, oh, you've got to watch this. I feel like that's what it was. And we sat down and watched the DVD, and I was completely enthralled. I remember that first viewing and then blown away. And so it took longer for me to kind of recapture my appreciation. I mean, it's a very slick looking movie right from the jump, and I love his freaking late 90s 7 Series BMW. Like, I'm not a big BMW Mercedes fan, but that car, that's a nice car. Mm-hmm. That's a sweet car. And so, but once things really got going with, what is it, like CRS?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then I was like, oh yeah, I remember, like, this is a lot. Once that's like going and things are much more active and frenetic, then I was more invested. But like, the big turning point for me in the movie is when he comes back to his house and the black lights all turn on, mm-hmm. and White Rabbit kicks on.
Yeah.
And that's a really nice moment. And there's a cool callback to that song later it's the needle drop at the end, which Fincher does awesome needle drops at the end of his movies. That's like the key turning point in the movie where he's just like, all right, now you guys have really done it. And like, that's where he kind of takes the gloves off, which is really cool. But I've noticed, like, there's way more stylistically. There's so much more going on here in this movie that shows up in Fight Club.
Mm-hmm.
Like when she drugs him in the cabin and she's talking to him and you get that like first person perspective of her leaning over him. He reuses that exact same setup when Durden is talking to the narrator as the narrator's like fading out of consciousness. So it's like stuff like that starts to show up. And then there's all these little bit roles that show back up in Fight Club.
Mm-hmm.
Either guys at the testicular cancer, like that whole thing. There's 2 or 3 guys there.
Yeah.
I think the guy that facilitates that group, the testicular cancer group, it's like one of the members of like CRS. So it was kind of fun to see that. I guess it's good to see the evolution of him as a director. Like, does this in 97, then 2 years later just really blows our minds with Fight Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And supposedly he was actually supposed to do this before he did 7, but apparently Brad Pitt suddenly became available for 7, and he was waiting for Brad Pitt for 7. And so when Brad Pitt was like, "Oh, I'm available now," they're like, "Oh, no, scratch this. Go back to doing 7." And that's kind of why things got switched around. Because when you got that actor that you want for your film, and he becomes available, you do it. You don't mess around.
But back to your point, Michael Douglas is awesome in this movie.
Yeah. He's fantastic.
And he's so cold and distant and disconnected at the beginning, and like especially that brutal phone call with his ex-wife, where he's just like, "All right, well, it was good talking to you, and you take care of yourself." And it's like, man, this guy's he's not living, right? He's just existing. And it's a fun journey with him to see him basically go from robot investment banker to a very, very broken human being.
Yeah.
I think that actually might be the biggest strength of the movie in a rewatch, because the ending notwithstanding, which blew my mind when I first saw it, and I knew coming back to this that this was going to be just a different experience, and you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
No.
You can't do it for this. You can't do it for The Sixth Sense. Like there's a whole category of these films that you can't go back. You wish you could. You wish you could have selective amnesia and watch it fresh again. But his journey is probably what I appreciated most. And the other thing is, I really, really like Deborah Unger as Christine.
Yeah.
I do remember her in this movie, and then I do remember she shows up again in Payback with Mel Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
She had like several roles in a row in the late 90s, and then it's like Hollywood it's impossible for actresses to like stay on the mountaintop.
Yeah.
And so, but she's really good. Like the camera really likes her. She turns in a really good performance at the end where she's just like on the radio, like, "Oh my gosh, like he's got a gun, like this wait, where'd you get that gun?" Yeah. And I'm sure there's a selective group of people that saw where the movie was going from further away. I bought in with what Fincher was trying to do the first viewing. Like, yeah, this had me second guessing everything, thinking I had it figured out, like if it does that for you, I think you really like this movie. And if it doesn't, then I think you probably hate this movie because you're like, I want to get that 2 hours of my life back.
Like, this is dumb. Saw this coming. So it kind of gave me the same vibes as, say, Total Recall, where you're kind of like, how much did, like you said, push you off? Because like in Total Recall, obviously it gives you all the stuff right up front, and then now you're questioning whether or not is this really real, or is he just in the recall? And then obviously here, is he in the game, or is his brother just kind of threw him under the bus and trying to make money or do whatever, or hurt him in some form or fashion? The thing that threw me this time that I didn't really pick up last time, I think just because of age, and is at the end when he goes up to the girl and he's just like, "Hey, can I take you out to dinner?" I'm like, you don't know anything about her.
Well,
like
she says that.
Yeah, like
she tells him that. She's like,
so like, which kind of also goes to show just how lacking of human connection he has, possibly as a character, to be like, hey, I spent less than 24 hours with this one person, or however long it's supposed to take over that time, and I have, feelings for her, even though she has played a character that I've know nothing about.
In his defense, she's pretty hot. So like, I mean,
fair.
That seems to be the only impetus for like the end of the movie. So, by the way, did you notice who the medic was that checked on him at the end of the film? Because they're like, oh, stay still.
Yeah.
There's glass. It's Spike Jones.
Is it Spike Jones?
It's Spike Jones. Yeah, it's great.
That's hilarious. Well, you just decided to wander on set and be like, oh, hey, what do you guys filming?
Well, it's because Spike Jones comes from a music video.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm.
So does Fincher. So it's like that group is small of guys that came up making music videos in the 80s and 90s. So for Madonna and every other big star under the sun. So yeah. Oh, did you notice? I didn't notice this because it's just stuff you pick up later, like the symbolism in film that you don't, like my 17-year-old brain didn't understand. But like when he wakes up in Mexico, he's in white. Mm-hmm. He's in all white. Like he's dirty, but he's in all white. It's definitely like a rebirth.
Yeah. Well, we missed him fighting the Balrog in that second act.
You shall not pass.
He's no longer Michael Van Dorn the gray. He's now Michael Van Dorn the white. But yeah, I did pick up on that. Like he definitely, it changes. Like he's gone through the ringer and he's now now been sacrificed and reborn.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you though, man, and I noticed this when we discussed The Killer on Netflix with Fassbender, but I don't think anybody uses the camera pan better than Fincher.
No, I agree with that.
Like, just has stuff set up compositionally where all he needs to do is just pan over, and he's completely recomposed the shot on exactly what he wants to be on with just that simple move. Mm-hmm. And we always, in film school, we always used to poo-poo the pan, right? Because your desire as a burgeoning filmmaker is really to get the camera off the tripod. Mm-hmm. Like you want to go handheld, or you want to get it on a dolly and push in, or you want to get it on a crane, or now you have the drone. Fincher, just his pans are awesome. Like, and he does it really good when a guy will get like out of a car and he just does this simple pan over and completely reveals something brand new to the camera. I don't know. The guy's a master.
Yes.
Absolute master. So I was looking. His cinematographer, I don't have recall on his name. On this, he worked with intermittently because he did this and they didn't work together for a while, and then he did Zodiac with him.
Ooh, okay.
But unfortunately, that gentleman passed in like 2012. I could pull it up real quick. Harris Savides, really gifted cinematographer. And it's amazing to me how similar this looks with Savides as Fight Club looks with Cronenweth. And it's not the same guy, but they share so many, like the color palette. There's a lot of green. Fincher just loves like green light. It's really weird. It shouldn't work. I swear the colors he picks for scenes shouldn't really work. And for some reason it just does, especially in a thriller like this.
Yeah. So maybe it's more of Fincher pushing what he wants on his DP as opposed to letting the DP do the decisions. Maybe just because there is definitely a Fincher look, and if he's got multiple cinematographers, then how much of it?
I did look up Savides, and he was famously quoted as saying that he preferred not to light actors. He actually liked to light rooms, and then whatever played out in the space is whatever played out in the space, because he didn't want things to look too nice, like too good. I was like, man, philosophically, that's really interesting to light the room, and then just however it looks is however it looks. Like, so because he just didn't like that artificial lighting where you can't really tell It's like unmotivated lighting where you can't tell where that light's coming from. And that's a choice. Yeah. I used to have big disagreements with people in graduate school over that because I forget, we were just on a short film and one gal was like fighting me on it because she was like, and there was not like a dedicated cinematographer. There were a couple of us like doing camera and stuff. And she's like, oh, you can't put that light there. There's like no motivation for that light. And I'm like, but I can't even see the corner of the room from our shot. So there's no, who cares if it's unmotivated? But yeah, she was like, there's no lamp over there. So like, why would there be light coming in there? It's like, well, we're not going to ever see the full scale of the room. So,
it's a choice.
It is. It is. It's a total choice.
Yeah. It's what do you want it to look like?
But I think this movie looks awesome.
It does. And again, it looks awesome uncompressed.
So I watched the first half via Criterion and then had some technical issues. And fortunately, it's now part of Prime Video.
Oh, yeah.
It's available. So I watched the back half and on Prime, and it looked good. It was a similar transfer. Like I didn't notice a huge difference, but yeah, there's really cool scenes that are washed in that nice blue light that everybody in the 90s was like, I swear, you got Fincher, James Cameron, like it worked. There's a simplicity to the lighting in this that I wish we could get back to. Like it's,
and when you're doing film, you only have so many options too. It's you can't.
And this is my thinking is that we have too many options now. And this is coming from somebody that's like still color corrects indie films. I tend to go with less tweaking of the image if I can get away with it. Like I don't like that look of like over doctored stuff. Like I would trust that the cinematographer lit it the way they needed to light it, and it's just bumping things up another 10% in the color grade. And that's what this movie, because this movie's been recolor timed, probably by Fincher himself in a supervised session. And it doesn't look like it's been doctored with a whole bunch. Like it feels like 1997. It's just so crisp though. Like it's so clean. Cool looking movie. It's a cool looking movie.
Oh, what else to say about the game? Sean Penn looks really young. My goodness.
Doesn't he though?
Yeah. I know he's not that young in this, but he looks absolutely like a baby.
He does. Watching him play Conrad, I'm telling you, I think Sean Penn could have played Tyler Durden if Brad Pitt wasn't available. I was watching him play Connie, and I was like, man, he's so much younger looking in this than I thought he was in 1997. He absolutely could have played Tyler Durden opposite Edward Norton with maybe a little bit of drop off. But I mean, let's be honest. Like Sean Penn's a 2-time Academy Award winner.
Yeah. I mean, he's been in good stuff too. Like, I mean, he's shown his range and his ability. So it would be different. It definitely wouldn't be Brad Pitt.
No, it would totally be different. But I had that thought. I was like, what if? That's where my brain went. I was like, man, he's giving off like he could be a good Tyler Durden if things would have gone differently for some reason. Obviously, that's Brad Pitt's like role of his career. Yeah.
Well, though he was doing Thin Red Line probably when they were starting.
Probably. Yep.
Probably when they were filming Fight Club. Yeah. So, and he's excellent in that. So you can't.
So he would have been 37 when this came out.
Yeah. So, but still, he looks really young.
He looks like 32.
Yeah. I mean, because even when you go to like Mystic River, and they may have just aged him in Mystic River, but he does not look at all the same. No. And
but
that's
the thing with Michael Douglas, it was supposed to be his 48th birthday, and I was like,
like, yeah, you look a little bit older, buddy.
Maybe 52. 53. Like, he did not look late 40s to me, but
hey, man, well, he's rich. He can get all those injections, all those the blood transfusions. He can get the 18-year-old kid up there, the dialysis machine. Just send his blood out to that kid. And take his. I don't know.
Oh my god!
I don't know what they talk about.
That sounded like QAnon for a second.
Well, no, it came from a Silicon Valley episode where the leader of like Hooli does that, like pays like a 20-something odd kid to.
I do want to mention I've got a little bit of a bone to pick. So the composer on this is Howard Shore.
Okay. Yeah.
And Howard Shore is really good.
Very good.
The score is super unique with the like individual piano keys, but man, is it repetitive. Like about 2/3 of the way through, I was like, they're leaning on this motif like way too heavy. Like there's not enough change with this music. It's just sort of like meandering, and that was kind of my takeaway. I was like, I like the feel of it. I'm not a composer, and I shouldn't even critique him. Like, it's Shore. He's amazing. But it's like they had something, but then it was like it didn't feel built upon. Like it stayed with that kind of tune, and then it would fade in and out. And
it didn't grow with the character, like with Michael Douglas. It didn't need to go down into the madness. Just kind of stayed that.
I think at the very end of the third act, at the climax, that theme wasn't playing. It was something more grandiose that was, because that whole last scene on the rooftop is super intense, very intense. Like the edit's really, really good. They're cutting back and forth between like 3 different things in rapid succession. It's really well done. I still enjoy it.
It's good. It's definitely not my favorite. It's, for a Fincher films, it's probably quite down there, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an enjoyable film. It's not bad in any regard, and you get see Michael Douglas just kind of do fantastic work.
Well, I mean, this was a contributing film for me in Fincher's like mid to late 90s run, when he does Seven, he does this, he does Fight Club, and I remember coming out of Fight Club and I think I'd seen this already. I don't remember Seven, but it was like pretty short order after that. I was just like, I think this guy's my favorite director. I don't know if I still feel that way, but like he was definitely like the it guy.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, there's no social media really then. There is no social media then, so like there's no buzz with this stuff. But I'm telling you, if Fincher like would have released Seven like 5 years ago, and then The Game like 3 years ago, and then Fight Club was like coming out this year,
yeah, it'd be huge.
He'd be as big. I'm telling you right now, he'd be as big as like Nolan's following.
Yeah.
Like on Reddit, it's just none of that existed. So like nobody could like congregate online and just like pour their heart out on how talented this guy is. Or
go deep dives of all the hidden ways you knew this was.
Yes.
Like this cop snickered at this moment in scene 12 on, and all that stuff.
But I'm telling you that amongst movie lovers in the mid to late 90s, like Fincher was freaking it. Like the hot young director in the game. No,
oh my goodness.
It's fun. It just sits in that category of like big reveals that you can't reproduce again.
No. And again, and I honestly, I don't feel that there's as much clues in this as you would in like Fight Club. Like when I go back and see Fight Club, like, I see that. Where when I watch it here, I was like, like there's moments I'm just like, sure, but like there's, that's a CRS or whatever, but I don't think it has the same kind of clue package as Fight Club does.
Yeah, and I think if they ever remade this, it would need to maybe be more cerebral with puzzles and stuff. That might be where it's kind of lax. You saying that, like, and that would help on a rewatch too, if there was just more going on with him trying to. Because there's a few cool moments where he gets something that he's got to use later, but they don't lean on that.
No, like the key stuff went pretty fast and very rarely.
Yeah.
Even though they said, these keys are going to show up and you don't know when you're going to have to use them.
So my question is, in the scheme of things, like in the totality of the film, because I have my own theory on this, but I want to know what you think. All that time he spent there at CRS, taking the psychological paperwork, medical tests, all that stuff, Do you think that was legitimate or not?
No, they totally did that so they could get into his house and like prep all these things. Like, you know, yeah, the whole like, hey, it's going to take 2 hours max. And then it's like
full day,
you know, all day was so they could keep him away from like his office, his home, get to all these people so they can start getting things set up. Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Like, no, that's not believable at all.
No.
So. And of course,
which I thought too, and like I figured they would have already had like detailed psych profiles on him anyway, because of their access to Conrad.
Yeah.
So, like, would you need any of that? Like, but there are like good questions, like what was Squibbs, what wasn't, like that, and I always like remember coming out of the first viewing going, man, yeah, what, like
how could they shoot the car, but yet kill someone but not actually kill them? Like how do you know that? Like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, and there is a lot of suspension of disbelief for the final fall.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Like it's like
no.
You
would not.
And I think a lot of people that saw this like kind of checked out at that moment because they're just like, it was so high and through like 2 sections of glass with like steel superstructure that he just happened to like get there. But I love that line from that one guy that's like, it's a good thing you jumped because if you didn't, I was supposed to throw you off the roof.
And that was James Rebhold or whatever, the guy from like Independence Day.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Oh, the guy.
He passed away several years ago, sadly.
Wow.
So Laura has watched this movie endlessly and she was watching it again today. It's Blank Check. Oh. And he plays the father. He plays the dad. And I was like, I miss that guy. Like just a really good, reliable character actor.
He is, but he always plays that punchable character. Like
he kind of did. Yeah.
Like, but hey, he had a much better acting career than I did, so can't knock him too much for it.
Oh, there's still time.
There's still time. If I just tried a little bit harder. Oh,
just got to go to work for CRS.
Done. Hopefully they have good health insurance. All right. Well, any last thoughts on the game?
No. This doesn't sit in like the high tier like hierarchy of Fincher films, but I think it's still a fun watch. And if it's been a long time since you've seen it, like there's a certain segment of moviegoer that will forget like what happens in movies they've seen. So I'm kind of envious of them for a film like this, because you potentially could go back to it and more or less re-experience most of it for what feels like the first times. Yeah. No, I like it. I think it's a good example of earlier Fincher and his just great directing ability.
Yeah. And the Fincher look.
Yeah. And it's an entertaining thriller, and I should mention before we wrap things up that it's got some Hitchcockian vibes to it. So it feels like kind of a Hitchcock film in 1997, if that existed. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we just want to say thank you to all our listeners. We really appreciate you joining us again this week. This has, again, been The Game by David Fincher from 1997. And next week, we're going to be coming at you with a whole new movie. And we hope to see you then.
Thanks, everybody.